Welcome to another episode of That's Right with Chris Voss. And I'm Chris Voss. And today, my pleasure, Mike Manazir. Mike, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to see you, Chris. Thanks very much. Good to be here.
So, would it be a ridiculous idea for you to share with our viewers a little bit about your business and your journey?
Thanks. I teach leadership. Now that's pretty broad.
That's your business.
That's my business. I learned how to lead in the United States Navy through 36 years of flying fighters, driving ships, and leading commands from 350 people all the way to 10,000 people. I subsequently went into business. And what I figured out like a flash, Chris, is that people want to be led by connecting with a caring, empathetic human being. The most effective teams are led by somebody who cares and leads through their heart, not with a title. And so I'm trying to teach 1 million people how to lead from their heart and not with a title.
Yeah, even warriors.
Even
wanna
warriors.
know you care.
Even
Feel
warriors in
connected.
the United States military, people will say, well, can't you just order them to do stuff? Well, sure you can. And they will follow orders, but they won't do their absolute best unless they believe in what you're doing and they want to go with you.
Yeah. So then today, you challenge the clients you have.
Mm-hmm.
What are the common challenges they face?
The common challenges of any leader out there is to realize that their own humility, vulnerability, and transparency will actually add to their leadership aura.
Not detract from it.
Correct. And a lot of people are afraid to be vulnerable. So I wrote a book called Learn How to Lead to Win. It's 33 stories of my journey through the Navy and what I learned from each of the stories. And they're burned into my head. And I used to tell these stories all the time, much like in your book, the Negotiate book, Never Split the Difference. And you talked about the situations you were in and what you could take from that. And so that's what I did, was I taught that. And that book is full of failure. I mean, if you stack up the things that I got to do in my career, you look at them like look at Michael Jordan and all the things that he did. He talks about his failures and how he learned.
Mm-hmm.
My book is full of failures. And so I would tell people, here's how you get to where I got to. You fail here and you fail here and you fail here. And pretty soon you figure out a way to get to where you need to go. So you learn the most from failure.
Fail forward.
Yes, sir.
So to
fail
speak.
forward.
That's
so
a
to
cliche,
speak.
but it's true.
Yep.
You learn as long as you learn. All right, so along the way, and where you are now, you're using specific strategies to understand the needs of the clients in front of you. What are they?
I tell stories, and I specifically talk to them about techniques, how to lead people with your heart. Passion, empathy, communication, mostly listening. And I teach those 3 things, and I talk to them about, if you do these things, if you follow this sort of a recipe, and I give them tricks and things to listen more or what to listen for, really demonstrate caring about people to enhance their leadership capability. And then I reassure them, if they lead in this way, they will lead higher performing teams because people will want to do their best for you. They won't want to disappoint you.
Because they feel connected to you, because you're authentic.
Because you're
They're
authentic.
going to rise to the occasion.
And they know that you care about them.
Right. All right, so we're talking about a thing called empathy, tactical empathy. It seems like you've got some situations where you use tactical empathy to navigate the situation.
I've got so many experiences with empathy. I'll tell you one that people will understand. I was the second in command of the USS Carl Vinson, the executive officer on 9/11. We were rounding the southern tip of India on the aircraft carrier on deployment. And one of the department heads who worked for me said, hey, XO, you need to come to the captain's at-sea cabin and see this, what's going on. It's on the walkie-talkie, the brick. And so I go up there to the captain's at-sea cabin, and there's a picture of one of the towers burning.
Wow.
And I said, what happened?
The hell is
He said,
that?
The tower, and of course, beautiful day, just like it is in Los Angeles here, and gorgeous day. And so, well, airplane hit the tower. So I walked out, talked to the captain, and I said, airplane hit one of the World Trade Center towers. Looks kind of strange. I'll let you know. Walk back in and watch the second airplane bank into that tower, that chilling film when you watch the other airplane hit the tower. being an aviator, I kind of know that's on purpose. And I watched it hit, walked back at the captain and said, we're under attack. Back at home. And we are thousands of miles away, supposed to be deterring the bad guys out in front. And behind us, we're getting hit. So what do we do, right? So anyway, we landed the rest of the airplanes. Flight ops are going on. We landed the rest of the airplanes on the carrier. And I walk out and I stand on the bridge. The captain goes down to talk to the admiral about what we're going to do next. The ship is still steaming. We're into the wind. And I'm standing looking out the front of the bridge. And I'm thinking, as the second in command, what do we have to do to prepare for war? What do I have to do for the mission? And I turn around, and the helmsman of this 100,000-ton ship is a young Hispanic female. She's crying. And I said, it'll be okay. We'll figure out what to do, and going forward here. And she says, no, XO, you don't understand. My uncle works in the World Trade Center. And right then I went, oh my gosh, I had not even thought about
who's affected under
who's
my nose.
affected in under my nose, and not just the mission, but how the people were affected by the event that we just experienced. And I realized that I needed to engage with the crew and understand, hey, besides the mission here, who might have relatives in the World Trade Center?
Right.
We had a bunch. Happily, it turned out that all of my crew's relatives had either not been in the towers that day or escaped before they went down. So nobody was critically injured or killed. And so we didn't have that effect. That was in 2001. As we know the story, I have remembered that story ever since. That in pursuing a mission, you have to understand what each one of your people is going through. And you have to have the empathy and the caring and the curiosity to understand what they're all going through. If you want to accomplish your mission, if you want to achieve performance, you have to see what's affecting everybody.
Right. Yeah, well, you didn't have to have family in a trade center to know what it meant to her.
And that I had not thought about it. That was a real clarion call to my leadership. I was focused on the mission.
Right.
And it didn't dawn on me. How do I lead with
How do they feel right now?
Right.
All right, so the that's right moment, it comes when we summarize for the other person how they feel. And that's when they say that, that's their indicator to us that they feel understood, which triggers transformation in them, decision-making, trust. Seems to me like you might have a story along those lines too.
Oh, I definitely do. I think trust is the foundation of everything that a high-performing team does. You must establish trust first. I think that your example of that's right means that you're listening to somebody effectively enough and you're repeating back to them and they say, that's right. And maybe they give you a little bits more of information, but you are listening to them enough that you'll be able to repeat back, which shows that you care about their input.
Cared enough about it to listen to it.
To listen to them directly and to understand exactly where they're coming from. And I think that's why those two words are magic, and they did resonate with me in your writings and your teachings, that caring about people is the foundation of everything. I've got so many trust stories, Chris, we'd be here like an entire afternoon, but it is foundational.
Well, at some point in time, maybe we'll talk about them over a bottle of bourbon. I don't know where you find some.
I'd enjoy that a lot. Put that on a note, Laura. We need to have bourbon with Chris Voss.
Yeah, it'll make a difference.
It'll make a difference.
All right, Mike, if people want to learn more about you, they want to learn leadership from you, how do they work with you? How do they connect with you? Where do they find you?
The easiest way is my website, www.mikemanazir.com. There on that website, you'll find content, you'll find blogs, you'll find images of my past, pictures. You'll find a way to hire me to speak. You'll find a way to get our newsletter. You'll find a way to buy books. All of our books are available on Amazon. I have Learn How to Lead to Win, has an aircraft carrier on the front. I have the Manazir Maxims, which takes the 10 rules to lead by out of the back of the first book, builds them into a chapter. All of them have leadership lessons. And I also have a study guide if anybody wants to learn how to study or learn how to teach the 10 rules or the 10 maxims, which I found most impactful for me to lead in the United States Navy and beyond in civilian business.
The Manazir Maxim.
Yes, sir.
I like the way that sounds.
Yes, sir.
Mike, thanks for being here today.
Thanks a
man.
lot.
Thank you very
Chris,
much.
This is great.